So I have more materials which will help you to master your English skills. Let's start. Mind over matter. Placebos. If you give asthma sufferers medicine and tell them it will help their condition, many of them will report that they feel better after taking it, even when that medicine wasn't actually real. It was a placebo. Sometimes doctors can measure physical changes after patients take a placebo. For example, their blood pressure may fall. So it seems the placebo effect is not just a trick of the mind. Nocebos. The nocebo effect is a kind of opposite of the placebo effect. You get an illness because you believe you will. When doctors give a patient a drug to treat a serious illness, they tell them about problems or side effects that the drug might cause, like a headache or a rash. Experiments show that a percentage of people get the side effects even when the drug they receive is just a sugar pill. Meditation. Scientists have studied monks who have learned to control their bodies by meditating. In one experiment, a monk sat in a cold room with a wet sheet over his shoulders. Most people would get very cold, but the monk concentrated and increased his body temperature to 40 degrees Celsius. He actually dried the sheet. Hypnotherapy. In 2014, the singer Alama Canta had a successful operation on her throat in France. She was hypnotized before it, so she did not need any drugs and she could sing during the operation. This way her voice was not damaged and she recovered more quickly. Hypnotherapy has also been successful in other areas, such as helping people give up smoking. Don't give up. There is a quote that age is a question of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. In the past, many people stopped playing sport not because of injury, but because they thought they were too old. However, science is discovering that our bodies can work well into old age if we don't stop practicing. Like Fauja Sikh. He ran his first marathon when he was 89 and continued to run after he was 100. It's an emergency. A police force has launched a campaign against misuse of the emergency phone number. Every day the police in northern England have to answer 300 999 calls, but a third of them are totally unnecessary. Last year, the calls that police received included someone wanting a ride home, a man complaining about his TV not working, and two people who reported lost cats. A number were also from young children who had accidentally dialed 999. The police are sending leaflets to houses to explain the problem and have introduced £80 fines for those making inappropriate calls. A doctor in Australia has saved the life of a young boy using a domestic drill and a mobile phone. Nicholas Rossi, a 13-year-old boy from a remote town in Australia, fell off his bicycle and hit his head. Although Nicholas initially seemed fine, his mother, a nurse, noticed a swelling on his head. She rushed him to the nearest hospital, where the doctor realized the boy was in danger of dying if he didn't have an operation to reduce the pressure on his brain. Unfortunately, Dr. Carson had never done the operation, which required him to make a hole in the boy's head, and he only had a normal household drill. After cleaning the drill, he phoned a colleague in Melbourne who explained where and how to make the hole. The 1-minute operation was successful, and the boy was transferred by plane to Melbourne Hospital, where he has made a complete recovery. Carson described his action as just part of the job. A chef has saved his own life thanks to the photo of a rare spider that he took with his mobile phone. Matthew Stevens, 23, was bitten by one of the world's most poisonous spiders, the Brazilian wandering spider, in a pub in southwest England while he was cleaning the kitchen. The spider probably came into Britain in a box of bananas. After the incident, Mr. Stevens took a photo of the 12-centimeter spider with his mobile phone, but then went home despite his hand swelling like a balloon. At home, he collapsed with breathing difficulties and had to be rushed to hospital. Fortunately, he was able to show the picture on his phone. The photo was sent to a university where they identified the species of spider and found a cure for the poison. Willpower. None of us had any idea what was going to happen when we arrived at the lawyer's office. Dad had died 2 months earlier in his bed in the same two-bedroom house where we'd grow up. Apart from the house, we didn't expect Dad to leave anything of value. I mean, for years after my mom died, he'd gone to a neighbor's house to watch TV. I offered to buy him a TV once, but he just said, "Never buy what you can borrow." That was typical of him. I guess he liked his neighbor's company as well. My mom had never worked and Dad was an insurance salesman. We assumed he wasn't successful because we were never bought toys and we wore second-hand clothes. We just thought he couldn't afford those things. Dad used to find bits of wood and turn them into toy boats. Okay, sorry for that. Dad used to find bits of wood and turn them into toy boats and dolls. Mom taught us to make and repair clothes, which we used to do together at night. They had funny little sayings that they'd repeat whenever we complained about things. Money's silver, but a needle and a thread is gold. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Never buy what you can borrow. Never throw away what you can repair. We used to laugh at them and sometimes invented our own silly sayings. A fool spends what the wise man saves. A glass of water is worth all the tea in China. We laughed, but having so little money was often annoying. I think we were the only family in our school without a TV. We never drank soft drinks, and sharing a room with two big sisters for 16 years was difficult. So we walked into the lawyer's office and sat down. We were serious but not sad anymore. Dad had had a good life. The lawyer started reading. I was hardly paying attention, really, but then the numbers seemed to continue without end. "Wait, I'm sorry," I said. "How much did you say he had?" The lawyer smiled. "Yes, I imagine it does need repeating. 2,781,653 pounds and 18 pence. We didn't know what to say. Nearly 3 million pounds. How? Why? We had so many questions, so many feelings. Around the world in 300 words, Kazakhstan. Ask most people on the streets of the UK what they know about Kazakhstan, and the only thing they can say is we played them at football. Ask where it is, and they may mention it's near Russia, but that's all. Yet Kazakhstan is huge, the ninth largest country in the world and the size of Western Europe. We think it's time people got to know it better. Oh, and yes, it is near Russia. They share a border and it's 6,846 kilometers long. People have lived in the region since the Stone Age. The society was nomadic. Different groups moved across the land to find grass and water for their animals and places to grow food for the season. The name of Kazakhstan comes from a word meaning free spirit. However, some cities such as Talas were established 2,000 years ago as part of the Silk Road trade route that went through the region. Two key events had an important influence on the region. Islam was introduced by the Arabs in the 8th century, and Genghis Khan Mongol army invaded in 1219. Over the next 200 years, the unique Kazakh language, culture, and economy developed based on nomadic life. However, the traditional lifestyle changed during the 1800s. When the country was occupied by Russia, the population grew rapidly and there were political and economic problems. This resulted in food shortages and eventually led to fighting and a civil war in 1916. In 1920, Kazakhstan became part of the Soviet Union. Over the following decade, the last Kazakh nomads were forced to live on farms or work in industry. Other people within the Soviet Union, including Germans, Ukrainians, and Koreans, were sent to work there. After Kazakhstan became independent on 16th December 1991, its economy grew rapidly. It's now the 11th largest producer of oil and gas in the world, as well as an exporter of many other natural resources. Read this email about a visit to a restaurant and find out what good things happened, what bad things happened. Hi Stevie, how are you? I hope you're well and that everything is okay with you and Dan. Anyway, I just thought I'd write to let you know how my first few days at university are going. I haven't done much work yet, but I have met some very nice people. One guy, Scott, invited me out for dinner last night. It was so funny. He took me to a very special dish restaurant, but unfortunately, when we got there, it was very crowded. I said I didn't mind waiting, so we sat in the bar. While we were waiting for a table, we had a great chat. Scott's from California and he told me a lot about his life there. In fact, during the 2-hour wait, he told me all about it. We finally got a table and ordered our food. When it came, Scott's dish was okay, but mine was awful. I complained and luckily they changed it really quickly. The new one was really nice. Unfortunately, during the rest of the meal, the musical entertainment was playing right next to us, so we couldn't really continue our conversation without shouting. We decided not to have a dessert and left. When they brought the bill, though, we noticed they charged us for all the dishes, including the one I'd sent back. Obviously, after that kind of service, we didn't leave a tip. Anyway, I'll let you know how it goes with Scott. Take care, Kaori. Hi there, I'm Bronwyn. I'm 23 and I'm from Wales. I finished university a year ago and I moved here. At the moment, I'm working in a coffee shop in Wood Green, near where I live. I guess I'm doing the course because I've always loved languages and this will give me an opportunity to travel and live abroad. As well as speaking Welsh and English, I speak some Russian. I'm thinking of going to the Czech Republic next year if I pass this course and can find a job. In my spare time, I go running a lot and also play some basketball. As well as sport, I really love watching films and going to the cinema. One of my favorite directors is a Czech called Jan Swankmajer, which is another reason I want to go there. So, I'm Maureen. I was a journalist until recently, but I'm retired now. I mainly wrote articles for lifestyle magazines, but I was also lucky enough to write about tennis because I'm a big fan. I'm married and have 3 children and 2 small grandchildren. My eldest daughter lives in the south of France and has a large house there. Now, my husband and I are retired. We're going to move there. I'm doing this course because I might do some teaching out there to earn some extra money and meet some local people. I'm a bit nervous about teaching, but hopefully this course will give me more confidence. I'm also having classes to improve my French. As well as playing and watching tennis, I like gardening and growing vegetables. I also still do some writing, but for my own pleasure, not work. The City of Lakes. Hanoi is a big city in the north of the country. I've lived there all my life, so I know it very well. It's a beautiful city. It's really green, there are lots of parks, and you find trees and flowers everywhere. The climate is very hot and humid, so everything grows really fast. The center is very old and it has lots of historic buildings, but now you find lots of modern buildings too, because the center is changing fast. The city is very famous for the lake in the center called Hoon Kiem. It's a bit polluted, so nobody swims there, but it's nice to look at. It always feels very lively. People spend a lot of time outside, talking to neighbors, eating, studying, or just going around town. However, it can be a bit noisy at times because so many people ride around on motorcycles. We use then, after that, to show that one action follows another. They mean the same thing. However, after that usually begins a sentence or a clause. At 10 o'clock, we move to the conference room on the first floor. Each national manager then gives a presentation. After that, each national manager gives a presentation. To show the point in time when something will finish, we use until. Presentations continue until lunchtime. She's in Britain until December. We can use the present simple to talk about things in the future that are timetabled or scheduled. We break for coffee at 16:30. The train leaves at 4:45. What time does the meeting finish? But and however both connect two opposing ideas or introduce surprising information. But connects two clauses in one sentence and starts the second clause. A member of staff there promised to send one on the following day, but it never arrived. I was told that the brand new player had already been sent. However, I still have not received it. We phoned to complain. The woman at the call center, however, said we had to send our complaint in writing. Read the two emails, decide if you would accept each invitation or not, then explain your decisions to a partner. Hi Salma, how are you? It's been so long since we last talked. What's new with you? I've just moved into a new flat in Bondi. It's really great to live so near the beach. I'm having a housewarming party next Saturday. I hope you can come. Bring your brother if you like, he's really funny. Unless it rains, we'll have a barbecue in the garden. I'm going to make some salads and there will be drinks, but I'm asking people to bring something to cook on the barbecue, if that's okay. Send me an email and let me know if you can come. It'd be great to see you. Love, Carlos. Dear colleagues, you are invited to a reception to mark the retirement of our business manager, Simone Lacrosse. The reception will take place in the main boardroom on the first floor at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Drinks and snacks will be served. Simone has been with us for the last 15 years and has helped us through some difficult times. I'm sure you would like to join us in giving her a proper goodbye as she returns to her native France. If you are able to attend, I would be grateful if you would respond to this email so that we can confirm numbers. Simone has asked if people could make a donation to the charity Southern Cat Rescue rather than give her a living present. If you wish to donate, please contact Ken in sales. Yours, Ben Marchant, Communications Director. Until last year, I lived with my parents in the capital of Eritrea, Asmara, but here everyone under the age of 50 has to do military service, so now I'm living in a big base out in the desert. Luckily, we're not at war with anyone at the moment, so I don't have to fight. Mainly, we work on construction projects, helping to build roads and airports and factories and so on. I'm paid about $30 a month and I try to send most of that to my parents as I don't have to buy much for myself here. Still, I worry about my parents because I was supporting them more before. Officially, we have to do 18 months in the army, but some people have been here much longer. Actually, some of my friends decided to leave the country to avoid all this. I understand them, but personally I hope I can help my country develop and then go home to help my family again. My husband died 3 years ago after 50 years of happy marriage, and I decided that I didn't want to stay in our old house. It contained too many memories. I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I'm now living in an old people's home on the south coast of England. I know they don't have a very good reputation, but my family looked at lots of places and chose very well. I have my own room, which is very important, and I don't have to do anything I don't want to. If I want to spend the whole day in bed reading, I can. Having said that, the home often organizes nice trips out, and of course, I go and visit my family regularly. The staff here are wonderful. They are always polite and they treat us with respect. They look after us really well. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you for watching my videos. Press the like button and subscribe to my channel.